Hello, welcome back to the Gaming Hall. Today I have the first round from the recently held European Championships held at the UK Games Expo at NEC in Birmingham. On the left, piloting Night's Watch, I have fellow metamate Mr. Dan Kaye, and on the right, hailing from Greece with Targ Fealty, George Karabinis. Setups, what do we have? We have Maester Eamon on the left and Ranging Party, and then George has stuck Khal Drogo, Rose, his Targ Loyalist Reducer, and a Bodyguard. We had 6 rounds on day 1. Then after that, all players with a 4-2 record made it to day 2, and we had a graduated cut. They all then played 3 rounds of Swiss, and we had a top 16. So quite a lot of game footage. So I've recorded some games. So has Rebecca and Richard from the White Walkers, and so has Ben from the Knight of Blackwater. So I'll stick some links in the description because they've been far more prepared than me. I was extremely exhausted after spending 4 days working over the weekend, and they've already got their first and second videos out, and I am slacking. Yay me! So I will have all of my rounds, and then those guys have the cut recorded. So we've had plots flipped. And we had... Oh, sorry, I missed that Dan had a King's Road out as well. Dan's flipped Time of Plenty, and George has flipped into Summer Harvest. So a nice little counter for George there. So, into round 1. So, Dan is first player. So he kneels and sacks the old King's Road. And brings out Corran Halfhand. And George is having a quick check. So has Renown and has that little reaction of when he wins a challenge in a military challenge, he can choose a non-unique character with strength less than him and kill it. Well, we have a Craven out straight away on Khal Drogo, so he's not going to be doing any attacking and making use of his military ability just yet. And we have another one, and we have the Dragon Glass Dagger going on Corran there. So while he's participating in the challenge, he gets +2 strength and is immune to opponent's character ability. So nice little counter for Danny. So yeah, really good event. Very exhausting. Lots of hours worked from the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I was marshalling it. So yeah, it was. Hopefully there should be some good games. There was a lot of Targ and there was a lot of Stark. You can follow some of the stats of some of the rounds. We used Joust and Villian in the end, so it was nice and easy for people to play. But yeah, just under 50% of the field was Targ Fealty and Stark Fealty, so nice and varied. So George has just played a dupe down for Khal Drogo himself, and he's got 9 gold. We got a faction reducer going down. And Viserys. So, what are you going to play, George? What are you going to play? Ooh, we have a dragon. Ooh. And this is where I'm going to be really stupid and not remember which one it is for the time being. I think that is Viserion? We also have Sajora coming out there. So that is Darren Dunn, and he passes challenges. So unopposed going in there from unopposed power challenge. So George takes the first power today. And an intrigue challenge from Sajora there. And gets rid of a long claw. So again, George just double checking just the wording on the dagger. Is he going to do his military?
When he goes into a challenge, he gets 2, yeah. So, dominance is 10 at 4, 14. I have 10 to 13. You get dominance.
So no more challenges, and George takes dominance. So quickly taking a 4-0 lead.
I have 6. Fine.
And we are back into plots. Ooh, we have a marched into counting coppers. So Dan opts in for card draw. So Dan is first player. So opts for his. So then George then goes to discard the service, so we can get rid of the Craven on Drogo. And Dan marches old Maester. So a bit of an uphill battle for Dan just now, and only got himself 2 gold to play with. So milk for Drogo. So no more 2 military challenges. In response, George then triggers his location reducer. Although Dan's forgotten to spend his gold for his milk. So are they going to remember that? And then he plays another dagger on his raging party, and he remembers to spend his gold. So yeah, so now over to George. George gets himself a nice 5 gold to spend, and his reducer, and his fealty. So yeah, so you're going to have quite a few number of games for us to spectate for you. There may well be a lot of Targ and Stark, so we do apologise. But so I was recording table 3 for most of the day, just to make life easier in terms of setup. Becca and Richard had table 2, and Ben had table 1, as we were hoping to stream our games. Unfortunately, the internet was absolute garbage. So bad that I was having to tether our laptop just so we could use Jousting Pavilion. But back to the action, and we've had a duped Rygel played by George, and he has sat on his remaining 3 gold. Dan has then passed his challenges again. He needs to play a little bit defensive at the moment. George then goes in for a intrigue challenge. Dan, of course, unable to defend it for no intrigue challenges. And George pulls a milk. So Dan flush with cards. I think I saw a nightmares. So George just checking what the strength of these two are going to be. It's quite tasty. Both of them are going to be strength 7 in a challenge. So we have a military with the Jorah and Drogon. I think George has accidentally stood Rygel there as well. Darren defensive base manages to trigger Corrin's reaction ability, killing off that Targ loyalist even. Sorry. Still struggling with energy following the weekend. I mean, it's not really an excuse. It's Wednesday now. Drogon then goes in for a power challenge, and he manages to win Dom as well. So end of round 2, and we have a 7-1 lead for George. So turn 3, what are we going to have? So Dan needs to get some boots on the ground. George is opting for card draw, so George is flipped into counting coppers. And Dan has flipped his... Oh god, I forgot what it's called. Is it Here to Search? So he gets to search his deck for a Maester card and put it into play. So no surprises. Almost 100% likely. There it is, Maester Raven. So a quick shuffle of the old deck. And we are ready to start turn 3. We'll say a quick shuffle of the deck. So George then triggers his counting coppers. And we begin our marshalling. So George being first player. And now we have the participation coin. So every person who played in the European Championships, and we had 156 players turn up in the end. And every single one of them got a nice swanky double-sided participation coin. Useful for any, I suppose, initiative flips, or if you want to stick it into a sock and beat your opponent senseless with it. But yeah, nice and shiny. So George flush with cards. Sat on 3 gold. He's got 4 reducers because he just played another Targ location reducer. So he's going for -3, -4, paying 3. Surely that means Danny, and we do. We have Danny. So Danny's now out. Rygel can stand her after she wins a challenge. And then Drogon can give her renown. So that's George done. No more gold left. And then we go over to Dan. So we've got a Rose Road. We've got a Duke for Aemon. He's got 3 gold to spend. And we have Halder. So George just having a quick check as to what Halder does. So Halder, for an action, can kneel a Night's Watch location or attachment and choose a Night's Watch character. And then until the end of the phase, that character gets +1 strength. So he's got a couple of attachments to use it, and from a quick look at his hand, looks like he's got another 2 or 3 attachments sat in there. So might become useful later on. So those guys, so Corran and the ranging party can get quite bulky indeed. So we've got an intrigue with Danny. So unopposed from Dan, and it's out of order. So we have triggered the renown and the insight, and then stand in. And then the unopposed. Dan being so kind as to let it all stand. And then George comes up to 9 power now. So 9-1. Overall, I think it was a really good event though. I mean, saying Dan being nice and letting him have it. There was actually a fair amount of good sportsmanship going on throughout the weekend. Very good level of players. We had quite a few Europeans make the journey across to the UK, which was really nice to see. We think it went quite well. So yeah. So we've got a military going down from George now. So just double checking the restrictions on Corran's ability. And Sticks are just going in with Rygel. So Dan's blocking with Corran. Gets himself his renown. The comeback is on from Dan. Now up to 2 power. George, I think George has just got his power left to do. And power with Danny and with Drogo. So Dan just having a quick count. So lets it go unopposed. So the unopposed and the renown. So George now goes up to 11 power. And over to Dan. So he goes in for an unopposed power himself. And he leaves it there, which is interesting. Seeing as George had already spent Fealty in the marshalling phase and there was no threat of Dracarys, I'm not sure why he didn't go power with Howder and then chuck in the military. But, you know, it's easy to ask these questions afterwards from the comfort of my my office. And we have a famine flipped into calling the banners. Oh, pardon me. So Dan gets himself 5 gold. So he'll be quite flush there. So he'll have 9 gold to spend this turn, but then all of his characters are going to cost 1 more from famine. So George's first player. So George spends 3 and chucks out the Plaza of Pride, I believe. No, sorry, not Plaza of Pride, Plaza of Punishment. And we get our final dragon, so we now have Super Danny. The Syrian coming out now means that Danny, as well as being able to stand after winning a challenge and having renown, now also has stealth. And then plays out Fealty, and we have Beggar King there, and that is going to go on to Drogo. So that is looking like a very scary board on George's side. But Dan's a cool cat, you know. It's never over until the fat lady sings, so they say. And we've got Gren coming out with a dupe. So Gren allowing we have another dagger. Sorry, I'm looking at Corrin still. Ignore me. So yeah, Gren's quite nice. So when he's in participating in a challenge, he can when attacking, he can move 1 from an he can move 1 power from the losing opponent's faction cards and then give it to another Night's Watch character. And we have Long Claw on Gren, so +1 strength and renown. And a plaque display to all of the attachments now. So certainly not struggling for military and power icons. And that's Dan done, and we're now over to George's challenges. So a stealth entry challenge from George there. Not really much Dan can do about that. So Dan Nightmare's Rigel, so there's going to be no standing Danny now. And it goes unopposed. So he gets his unopposed, gets his 2 renowns, and he's now up to 14. This is quite speedy. So 1 away from the win. Out goes Jon Snow, but it is claim 2. Which they both suddenly realise at the same time, and that is a Hand's Judgment gone. So Dan is now out of cards. He is top decking. George, however, is quite flush, sat on about 4 or 5. So, can George finish this out? So, George, what are you going to do, mate? So he's going for a military. So Dan declares action. So Neil's so he's kneeling 2 attachments. So takes 2 actions, Neil's 2 attachments, and defends for 5, so he gets to win the challenge. And then we have power now, so power for 7. So Dan triggers Halder again, and then he gets to block for 8. So yeah, some nice little combos going off there with Halder and the attachments. So Dan gets to win another challenge, and that is all of George's challenges done now. So we have unopposed power from Dan. So starting to claw it back now. So Dan now moves up to 7. So Dan just remembering to pump the strength up before going in. So he goes for an unopposed military. Then triggers Gren. Although slightly misplayed, because it shouldn't go on to Corran, because it can only go on to another attacking character. But does forget his renown. So George then gets rid of Viserion for claim. Sorry, he takes the bodyguard even, sorry. And Dan stops. And George takes Dom. So George goes back up to 13 there, and Dan's now on 9. So he's managed to claw it back a little bit. And so we have a Clash of King into Dance with Dragons. So when Dan wins a power challenge, he has a reaction that he can move power from the opponent's pile, opponent's card to his own, and then Dance to Dragons. All non-dragons get -1 strength, and if they hit strength 0, they are dead. So George triggers his Beggar King, and Dan goes first. So we got a dupe for Howder.
Everyone is at -1. Just thinking him. Just thinking. Okay. He's at 3 at the minute. So, oh sorry, yeah, what am I doing? I'll just take the code, yeah, there we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'll pass.
So Dan now passes, sat on 5 gold, and George is going to start chucking out a load of characters. So there's Viserion. So instantly dies, which then gets rid of the milk.
You have 18 minutes on the round. We are doing lunch afterwards. We'll get that out of the way, and it will be the last 5 rounds of the day. You must be back at 2 o'clock.
So the other 2 are being done, and we have. What do we have there? I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure what George has just played.
When you are done with your round, if you can take your table slip to flight control, there is a Game of Thrones mat and a little box for you to chuck them in. Stick them there.
So I believe it's now over to Dan. Okay, so that looks like a Slaver's Bay port that George has played. So Dan goes in for power. So everything is currently 7. And then everything is set. So everything is currently 7, and they get -1 for dragon and -1 for crossing. But they don't get affected by Danny.
This makes them immune to character abilities.
So you are -2.
That and that. So power for 10.
But these are not knelt.
So yeah, George just clarifying whether the attachments are knelt or not. So Dan just getting it right.
Yeah, well, 7 minus 2, 7 minus 2.
So yeah, everyone's just double checking the maths here a sec. So George just checking how much Dan takes him unopposed. So we get 1 for unopposed, 1 for clash, 1 for claim, and 1 for Corrin.
One part from me, second part from me. This one, no, what? So with oppose you take 3 known and 2 power from can you see something else?
So George just goes in for a token oppose.
Reaction? That? Yeah, so... Was it DC? Yeah, so... reaction down, it's renown.
So Dan gets himself up to 12, but then not really. Couldn't really do anything else extra. So George just working out the numbers, but I think this could be it. Yep, got a big power challenge coming in. And stealth. Dan forgetting the stealth. So yeah, so that's unopposed. And that takes George to 15. So yeah, just forgetting about the stealth. I mean, it was looking pretty dire from the start for Dan, but being able to come back to 12 was a good valiant effort there. Didn't see much economy, and you know George had the bonus there of having all of that economy and getting some key parts, forcing Dan to be on the defensive from the back foot. But yeah, congratulations to George. So George takes this one 15 to 12. So I'll be trying to get some more of these edited and hopefully get them out over the next couple of weeks. I'll be realistic. I'm probably not going to be as quick as Rebecca, Rich, and Ben, but I will try my best. But yeah, until the next video, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Do give it a like and a subscribe. I will try and improve the commentary. I'm a little bit rusty. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.